A very good evening to you. Thanks for joining us on the Thursday edition of the show. I'm here, me, Adebayo. Well, tonight on the show, we will be talking about the African Nations Championship. The Super Eagles Team B, or the Chan Eagles, as you love to call them, have been drawn in Group D. We will be talking about their return to the tournament after 6 years of absence. We will also be talking about football on the domestic scene. We'll focus our attention on the women that will travel abroad. Take a look at what's happening in the English Premier League, and of course talk about some of the games played yesterday. That's the outlook of the show for tonight. It's a two-man show. My colleague Osino Konakwan is suited and ready as we take you along on this trip across the money-spinning world of sports.
It's quite a great to you, Yemi, and of course everyone joining us on the show tonight. Always an action-packed world of sports. Now we know the different countries know their opponents in the 2024 CHAN. It's quite a shame that the Confederation of African Football had to postpone it. I was looking forward to the action in Feb. Now it's going to happen in July. Nigeria, tricky group, being paired with the defending champion Senegal is something we should actually, give some thinking and prepare properly now. I don't have so much happening as regards that one. Kenya, they've given their assurance that they are ready to host, same as Uganda and Tanzania. Hopefully nothing will stop it in August. We'll also talk about how Nigeria is getting ready to ensure that the National Sports Festival gets, the sort of prestige it used to have back in the day. At Enugu, they've signed the agreements to host next year. We'll wait to see what will come out of that one. We'll tell our viewers the updates that we'll have. And of course, in England, the Premier League. What a story. Arsenal, reigned supreme in the North London derby, and that brought a bit of light at the end of the tunnel for Mikel Arteta and his team. Can they believe now? We'll wait to see. But Manchester United will be busy tonight with Southampton, and I see Ipswich and Brighton already doing business. I'll give you updates on the show tonight. All
right, we'll be expecting just that. Let's dive straight into what we have tonight. At some point, of course, some of our guests will join us, and we will be taking a look at some of the issues. But let's start off with Nigeria's. Okay, maybe I just bring in Joseph Atewe to the show. Joseph, greetings to you. Thanks for finding time to be with us on the show tonight.
Join you guys. Channels Television, one of the best, if not the best in the country, and of course Africa. So this is one of the best sports shows. So whenever the invitation is extended, with full arms, I'm here, and let's talk sports.
All right, let's do just that. Let's talk about Nigeria's mini Olympics, and just like Austin said, we hope to get it right. Enugu State in the forefront, signing on the dotted lines. It is confirmed now. They will be handling the next. The one after the one to be held later this year. So theirs is going to be in 2026, and a significant step forward with the signing of the document, just like Austin said. They were presented with a letter of award for the hosting of the games. It was presented to the Enugu State Governor. Director of the Commission, Bukola Olopade, outlined specific requirements for hosting the festival, including the provision of state-of-the-art sporting facilities, efficient logistics, and the establishment of an environment that fosters sportsmanship and unity among participants and spectators. The governor, on his hand, Governor Mba, said Enugu State remains committed to creating an unforgettable sporting spectacle that aligns with the country's vision of building a viable sports economy and using sports as a tool for development and social cohesion. Let's take some talking points from that. We'll come back to discuss some more on the 2026 National Sports Festival.
Today we have come to do the strategic letter of presentation that we do with every government that hosts the games, and also to sign the MOU, which we need to proper work towards ending 2026. Coincidentally, I was a private person working with Nilaya when the bid for the hosting rights was done. And Nilaya did everything of Enugu State. But it was the easiest bid that Nilaya has ever undertaken. Luckily, the Minister of Sports, and the Council in this party are taking a decision long before, because nobody knew I was going to be teaching, long before I was appointed to give Enugu the hosting rights. And in their words, it was such an easy decision for them to take, because the other commissioner and his team, Commissioner for Sport and his team, did well to show us some of the things that are required to host an amazing festival. But beyond that, it was your leadership, sir, that galvanized the ministry to take that decision.
If you look at sports and you talk about Enugu, so I think it is in order to say that sports is coming home. If I may borrow the British say of football coming home. So sports is really coming home finally, because of course we also appreciate the value and the significance of this award. So I want to commend heartily the Commission for finding Enugu worthy of being the next host of the 23rd National Sports Festival. We are going to discharge ourselves creditably. As you know, we like to be role models. As a state that gained preeminence over 115 years ago, we will not want to let our forebears down. So we want to live up to that standard that they've set. So we've already set forth at dawn. The minute this announcement was made, we have mobilized our team. We're already working on revamping the games village that we've always had. But what we have also decided to do is to make sure that we deliver a brand new games village in Enugu. We're also going to completely renovate the stadium. We're going to ensure that by the time you come here, by the end of this year, you're going to see a brand new stadium.
All right, so that's it. Enugu State signing on the dotted lines, and of course, you could see the stakeholders, of course, letting us in on what will happen. And I'm heartened listening to the governor of Enugu State talking about the things he plans to do. And I'm also hoping that the gains of having the sports festival, we will have it in the forthcoming one in Ogun State, and of course in the one to be held next year, 2026, which is Enugu State. Austin, I mean, your thoughts. I'm always happy when I see that the people or the person spearheading the efforts for any big sporting event is the person in charge of the state. So it means there will be no slacking. Of course, everything should and will be ready.
Yeah. I mean, we've been through this before, haven't we? You know, and so I'm sorry, Governor Peter Mba, I'm not taking you seriously this time around. I'm just glad we've signed the agreement for the 2026 National Sports Festival, and we're looking forward to it. Were you telling me that you're going to have Games Village, you're going to build new stadiums? Governor Peter Mba, let's put words to action. This is the same thing your government said when Enugu Rangers qualified for the CAF Champions League. And you promised you're going to fix the stadium in Enugu. You didn't, and that's why Enugu Rangers went to play in Uyo, and their Champions League campaign was in shambles. They were disastrous. So, Governor, when we say these things, please, let's try to do it. You know, let's see governance in action.
Yeah. Well said. Let me just quickly bring Joseph into it as we get back to Austin. I mean, Joseph, you heard the words. I mean, if words are anything to go by, those are the kind of words you want to hear. Okay. So, I mean, interesting times ahead while we wait to, get our guys back on. I mean, you see pictures from that signing of the agreement to host the 2026 National Sports Festival, and of course, is a good one. And we're hoping that things will turn out the way we all expect as sport-loving Nigerians. Hopefully, the job will get done. All right. So we're still on the matter. Let me get Austin's thoughts on. Okay, Austin has made his point. Let me just allow Joseph say something on this little matter. Then we move on with the rest of the show.
Okay, so I feel for me personally, I mean, whichever state hosts the competition, I have no problem with that because the National Sport Festival, and of course, you bring different states together, to enjoy themselves, to discover athletes. But let's not forget the essence of the competition. It was Delta at some point, Edo dived into it, Ogun State came into place, and now Enugu State. The essence of the competition, which is to discover talents. And we keen into this. Now, let me let you know that the zonal for the Southwest was held in Osun State, and they were using facial recognition. Facial recognition, oh, this boy looks like 17, this boy looks like 16, it looks like 14. We should go past that stage because the essence of the competition is what we should focus on. If we get that right, honestly, even if Zamfara is hosting, who cares? Now, Austin made a good point, actually, because, the governor himself, he talked about Enugu Rangers and what he promised in terms of infrastructure, nothing to behold here as we speak. But then I believe in second chance. Let's give him this chance. And let's see what Enugu will bring to the fold. He has talked about new stadiums. He has talked about what will be wild with when when the competition itself begins in 2026. No doubt about that. We hope he will get something done. But as I said, the essence of the competition, let's talk about that. Are we still in that line of, the National Sport Festival, which is to discover talents? If we don't deviate from that, then I'm fine with anybody that hosts.
Yeah, Jamie, before we move on, I noticed there was a bit of a hitch, so I didn't really make my point. I'm saying to the Enugu State government, if you're telling us now that you're going to have a world-class games village, you're going to have a new stadium, we should start seeing workings now. So call a press conference and tell us that, look, we already have this in place for these promises that we've talked about, because this is January 2025. 2026 is just next year. So if you're building a new stadium, there should be some level of working going on now. So because we're done with all of this, so much talks and no action. So by the time we start seeing that, and you carry the media along, and you give us progress reports, then we'll know that you mean business. So let's stop this whole talk. This is a new year. We should start putting words into action.
All right. So it's not all about optics. It's not all about putting the camera in our faces. All right. Let me bring Rotimi Akindele. He joins us now. Greetings to you, Rotimi. I think I could still say Happy New Year. This is the first time I'm seeing you in the new year. Greetings to you. Thanks for being with us.
Yep.
You've heard, the conversation around the signing of the documents, National Sports Festival, so as not to bring us back. You heard Austin now. What is actually needed from stakeholders? Is it more investment? Is it being more accountable? Because look, most of these administrators, governors, people in charge, when they say these things, I think they mean it, but the execution sometimes, it's what's really the problem.
When you say things like most of these administrators do, you probably should have a circle. Mm-hmm. Find yourself in a circle where the folks you're talking to will be able to execute whatever you want to do or whatever you want to achieve.
And you can measure progress.
And then you can measure progress. But if you say it just for the optics, just to let us know that Enugu is, getting set to build a world-class stadium and all of that, and then there are no walk-ins, you can't show anything, then it just becomes the norm, like Austin is saying, like what we're used to seeing or what we're used to hearing. But then I personally feel the National Sports Festival should not hold every 2 years. Because if you really want to plan, and we should have maybe that's what the NSC will do, have a template, a workable template.
Okay.
I don't think 2 years is enough. Because if you have, will Enugu finish that stadium or the World Class Game Village before they host the National Sports Festival.
I know
or we'll probably see another round of postponement and
promises
postponement
and all that.
So there's a whole lot to look at.
Yeah.
But hopefully we'll find a workable template.
All right. This is where we are for now. I hope the administrators will sit down and look at some of these issues. All right. With the time we have before we go on the break, let's go to the African Nations Championship. That's what we want to talk about. I'll go across the screen in a bit, but of course, the Home Eagles, the Super Eagles, Team B, the Chan Eagles, whichever one you want to call them, they know their foes now, and so we will talk about it. I'll go across. Our focus will be on Group D, and it is understandable. But there you have it. All of the other groups have 5 teams. Nigeria happens to be in a group that has just 4. So it's going to be hosted, as you already know, by Tanzania, Kenya, and Uganda. And it still carried 2024 because it was meant to be held in 2024. All right, so you have in Group A, Kenya, Morocco, Angola, DR Congo, and Zambia. In Group B, Tanzania, Madagascar, Mauritania, Burkina Faso, and, of course, the Central African Republic. Group C, Uganda, Nigeria Republic, Guinea, and, of course, the 2 teams that will pick the wild cards. Then, of course, you have Senegal, Congo-Brazzaville, Sudan, and Nigeria. Rotimi, let me give you the first bite of the cherry, probably in a minute. Your immediate reaction to this draw?
For
vis-a-vis the players we have in camp who would likely be the ones to represent us there. So how do you make...
It's even more tougher, you know why? Because now that we have the tournament postponed, how many of these players will be available by August? Because most of them are already, eyeing playing in China and then let's go abroad. But now the agents will probably come up with more offers between now and August this year, and then you find some of your key players leave already. So
we might be in a rebuild.
Exactly, because the season will end in May, according to the LMC or the league management. The season will end in May, and then you have that's according to the Nigeria Premier League. And then you have that 3 months to build a Chan team. So you can't stop Yemi or Remo Stars to travel out or go to join a foreign club. So it puts us in a very interesting...
You would have preferred...
if it was happening now, I could tell you Nigeria will easily come out of that group. The only team there will be the defending champions. The Senegalese are also strong, and they've got passion for their football as well. So you feel the Senegalese have a culture of football. As the defending champions, they want to make a statement. Nigeria will find it tough against Senegal. Congo-Brazzaville, I played in Chan a bit, played in the quarterfinals, I think, twice already. So you have another top opposition in there. Sudan are no pushovers in the Chan tournament. As a matter of fact, some of the North African countries have always put up stiff competition, especially to teams from this region. The last time we had a good run at the Chan was back in Morocco in 2018 when we got to the final.
Yeah.
And then we played some Northern African oppositions like Libya and the likes before getting to that final. So on paper, it looks pretty tight. But then if we were going with this current crop of players, maybe we'll stand a chance of qualifying. But since it's been
likely
moved,
not going to be the case.
We need to probably know the kind of players that will be available by then before we talk up our chances.
All right. Let me pass the baton to Austin. We have probably just about a minute before we go on break. Rotimi's comments, he hit home wrongly somehow. But I don't know. How many of these players can we keep hold of by the time the chance starts?
It's difficult, because the few that we've got, as Rotimi said, their biggest ambition is to get out of the country, and I said it on my socials that this is a big blow for the competition. I don't know what CAF was thinking. I am worried. I'm so worried because most of these countries in Africa, they're even going to eat the budget. They've already started planning. Nigeria, for instance, we had the team in camp already, they were preparing. By June, we'll be looking for the monies. It's gone, So CAF will regret not having this competition in February. But it is what it is. They said they wanted the proper infrastructure. And I said, hey, CAF, stop this. Morocco, easy peasy. We'll come to the rescue. We have 3 countries hosting. If it's Kenya, because I saw the Moi International Sports Complex, and it's Sports Center, rather. It's not even close to completion. I'm saying, is this what we're waiting on? So if it is Kenya that's the problem, take the competition to Tanzania and Uganda. If it is Uganda, ask Tanzania, can you host it? Just get it out of the way. But first, CAF has so much problems. First, they don't even have the complete teams that they need. And now they have postponed it. You know, one thing that I know, most of these football administrators in Africa, they're going to sit back now and say, oh, it's in August. We'll start planning again in July. And then we're going to have a very shambolic, Chan. We'll come back to the conversation. I'm sure just about there was something to say as regards this one. Sports Tonight on Channels Television. Let's go on this quick break. When we come back, so much to talk about, including what's going on in the Premier League. Don't go anywhere. Stay. Welcome back, Sports Tonight on Channels Television. We're talking about the 2024 Chan just before we went on that break. Rotimi Akindele is in the studio in Lagos. He says he's worried because most of the players in Africa after this season will find a way to leave to go play elsewhere, and that will drop the quality of the competition. I totally agree. I also have a fear for financial mismanagement, misappropriation. So some countries are already getting ready to have this competition in Feb, and now the Confederation of African Football, they've postponed it to August. Not just that they said August. We don't even have an exact date in August. But the good thing is the draw has been concluded. Nigeria appeared in Group D alongside Senegal, Congo Brazzaville, Sudan, and then other countries also know their opponents. Let's listen to CAF President Patrice Motsepe. He said a thing or two about the Chan draw.
Let me start by expressing my deep personal gratitude to President Ruto of Kenya, Madam Samia of Tanzania, and President Museveni of Uganda for their leadership, for their commitment, and also for the very good work that has taken place under their leadership. The stadiums have been upgraded, and there's a lot of good work that's taking place in terms of renovations, the training fields, the infrastructure and facilities for football in its totality. I took a walk around during my 2 visits, and also the hotels, the hospitals. So it's motivating, but it's also inspiring that at the highest level in Kenya, in Tanzania, in Uganda, there's a huge commitment, a huge passion for football development, for the Total Energies African Nations Championship, the CHAN. And we've always looked at this important competition as an investment in the development of football talent in East Africa, on the continent, and also in young boys. And the young girls also get inspired when they see the young boys doing so well. It's important from a CAF perspective that in the context of this excellent work that has been done, that we provide our support, our commitment, and I always say we are all Kenyans, we are all Tanzanians, we are all Ugandans, we are all Africans. And we have a huge amount of confidence and faith in our ability to host a very successful CHAN in Kenya, Tanzania, and Uganda, but also a huge amount of confidence in the competitions that are coming in future. And I'm confident that in August, we will have the most successful CHAN, Total Energies African Nations Championship in the history of this competition. And the good work that I've seen, the construction that's taken place, the dressing rooms, the training fields, the good work in terms of the hotels and the hospitals, and that work that's ongoing, that's continuing, gives me confidence that we will all be very proud, and we'll all be very, very successful as stakeholders in football and as participants who believe that football is an important tool to contribute to the development and growth, create jobs, and provide skills and expertise for our people.
As the president of the Confederation of African Football, Patrice Motsepe, and he's talking about confidence. Joseph Atewe, where is he getting his confidence from? He said it's inspiring that stadiums are upgraded. Where? And why are we now not having the competition if you're pleased with the level of infrastructure work that you saw in Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania? I understand CAF wants to open up the football business in those regions, but it's time to start telling people the truth. I listened to Patrice Motsepe in September last year at a press conference in Nairobi saying he trusts President Ruto, that there's so much work to be done. They come out plain and tell them that you've got so much work to be done. And get the work done, Joseph. Isn't that the only way we can develop football in Africa, where we are sincere with ourselves?
You know, I stand corrected. I feel like Patrice Motsepe needs to understand that it's not precedent over a group of people, but precedent over the confederation itself. That's African football. And there are millions of people who are keyed into this. You cannot start your speech by thanking presidents. Ruto, for example. And we understand, based on the report submitted by the CAF inspection team, the problem here is Kenya. Even though, the draws were held at the Kenyatta Sport Complex in Kenya yesterday, we understand that Kenya is the problem. Like you said earlier, if it's Uganda and Tanzania, let this competition go on. See, we are not joke here. We are not joke here. And I believe it is high time that we stand up to these things. If you look at the African Cup of Nations itself, it's a tradition that it is held every January. Yeah. And you and I understand why this was shifted, which is not good. The European world won't do this for Africa, and we understand what is happening. But that's a discussion for another time. I feel like I'm disappointed in Motsepe, honestly, because his statement, when he started his speech thanking the president, honestly turned me off. And I feel like we have a long way to go as a continent, Africa.
I can see Rotimi shaking his head here. So let me just allow him to say something as a reaction, then we have to move on. But what do you want to say?
Yeah, so this is not in a bit to probably, I don't want it to sound like I'm making a case for CAF. But then again, we need to consider that the teams in question are also complaining about the timing. The likes of Egypt, Algeria are probably pulled out from this tournament just because it's going to clash with the calendar in the local league. South Africa as well. Oh, we've got CAF competitions being held. The CAF Champions League, the CAF Confederations
going on right about now.
We're doing so well. You want us to release our best legs to go play Chan. We're not interested, so they withdrew. And now some of those teams that have withdrawn from the tournament will probably face off in another qualifiers later this year to get the wild cards 1 and 2 and all that. So maybe from the club angle, from the club sides, they're also not happy with the timing, so they're okay with this postponement. And then we just need to look at that balance. Maybe it's not just the facilities that are being delayed or what CAF is expecting.
The CAF is just looking at the fallback position.
The protagonists themselves, the club sides, the players, some of them are also excited that, you know what, we're okay with this postponement as long as it doesn't clash with our domestic ambitions and all that. Don't forget, the CAF, the CHAN tournament will now be played after the Club World Cup. We've got about 4 or 5 African club sides that will be playing at that Club World Cup. When they come back, you want them to get into the CHAN?
Wow.
So there's a whole lot to consider, really.
There's a whole lot, and this show will not even allow us the opportunity to look at all the angles. Let's let it rest for now. Probably tomorrow we'll take it up from there. But let's quickly take a look at the Nigeria Women's Football League, take a look at the results and the tables. A few comments here and there, then we go to the English Premier League. I'm just going to go across now, just to quickly take a look at the results, which is what we're going to do. We look at... of course, the 2024-2025 NWFL Premiership and Match Day 1 results. We start with Group A. Ekiti Queens had a 1-0 victory over Heartland Ladies. Confluence Queens, of course, lost to Remo Stars. Ladies by 3-1. Nasarawa Amazons defeated Danas Ladies 1-0. Edo Queens hammered Abia Angels. And that's not the kind of results you would I've expected. 5-0 they defeated Abia Angels. All right, let's look at Group B, Match Day 1 results. Benue Queens lost to FC Robo Queens, 1-5. Bayeso Queens had a very slim 1-0 victory over Delta Queens. The Rivers Angels and Ibom Angels headed 2-1 in favor of Rivers Angels. Then Adamawa Queens and Niger Raiders played a 1-1 draw. And this is what it looks like in Group A. Just after one game, you look at the table, Edo Queens riding high after hammering their opponents with 5 goals. They have 3 points. And of course, I don't know if it means much for now, but in that red spot is Abia Angels. But of course, they would be hoping that they will not remain there at the end of the season. And of course, those top 3 positions where you want your team to be, because you know what's going to happen after all the games have been played. And in Group B, you have FC Robo Queens, Rivers Angels, Bayelsa Queen forming the top 3. And that team in red, of course, Benue Queen. But all of this just after one set of matches. Let me hear to Austin quickly. Your thoughts on this one before we go to the English Premier League.
And I saw the results, the one of the Edo Queens, and the way they punished Abia Angels. And what a way to show that you want to, retain your title. That was a fantastic start for Edo Queens. Also beautiful start for FC Robo Queens. I saw the game between Bayelsa Queens and Delta Queens. Bayelsa Queens labored to win down by a single goal. But Edo Queens will really look at this victory and say to themselves that they can build on this momentum. They were really fired up. It's a lovely goal. Starting off the season as defending champions, and then you go on to win by 5 goals to nothing. It's a really good one. And before someone would come and say, "Oh, it's not just Abia." Abia Angels were pretty decent. I think 2-3 seasons ago. So they're a team that understand the Nigeria Women's Football League. But Edo Queens just said, "Look, we're not here to joke." A shout out to the Edo State government and the support they are giving to women's football. MMSCN, remember, she was at the CAF Women's Champions League, and she did all of the magic that we saw against TP, against Mamelodi Sundowns. And it's good to see her still doing the same thing with her club. So it's good for women's football development here. It means just match day 1, we'll continue to monitor it.
All right. Because we're pressed for time, let us in what is happening right now. Rotimi is here with me in the studio, and of course, he's with me, but he's trying to check on the results as well. But let us in. What is happening? Manchester United in action, and of course, another team also playing. Before we talk about what happened yesterday, let's have some news from those matches.
35th minute already played in the game between Manchester United and Southampton. You expect Man U to be busting this one, but it doesn't seem so. Garnacho got a chance. I thought he was going to score. He missed it. So after 35 minutes, it's still Manchester United 0, Southampton 0. The game between Ipswich and Brighton is also goalless. So we haven't seen much of what we saw last night. Drab, but hey, this is football where anything can happen. Maybe when they get into the break and come back, we're going to, get something to talk about. But at the moment, it's goalless at both centers. Continue to monitor. But Manchester United really giving the game the push that it deserves, So let's see if they will get the lead before the break, but still goalless. We want to talk about what went down right there in the North London derby. Arsenal needed to win that one so bad, and they did just that. So Rotimi, with this, are the Gunners back in contention for the league title?
Definitely. That's what it feels like. I mean, you saw what it meant to Mikel Arteta after the final whistle. 2-1 winners of the
Let me twist the question a little.
Yep.
Definitely in terms of performance, or definitely in terms of the results?
I think both ways. So it was a derby. It was a North London derby. Mm-hmm. So I mean, when you're playing against your rivals, for every team you want to up your game and all that. And you saw what
critics are saying, that it looks like something is broken in that Arsenal team.
You can say
it's not fluid anymore.
It might not be fluid because of the kind of opposition you are playing. At times, your opposition determines the way you approach games or the way you play a game. You saw that every block, every tackle, every defense, interception Arsenal made, there were cheers. There were, even to the players themselves, it meant a whole lot, to the players. So I feel, on the balance of play, whether in terms of performance, all the results, we were playing against our biggest rivals. We got a win. We got all 3 points. I think that was fantastic for the Gunners. They just knew that they had to keep that gap pretty close to Liverpool, who seems to be, at some point it looked like they were running away. But this time around, there's that belief that we can close the gap. It's now 4 points. What if they drop points in their next game? That means we have a chance to push. So I think based on performance and result, it was big for Arsenal. They needed it, and then they got it.
All right, same question for Joseph. some would say it's not vintage Arsenal yet, but the result is good.
Well, of course, I was telling someone, I said, if Arsenal had this squad, say 2007, 8, 9, 10, up to 15, Arsenal would have dominated the Premier League. But unfortunately, the Premier League, what you have right now, has changed. Not even with the caliber of players, with the rules or the norm. You have an Arsenal defeated Wolves, Arsenal defeated Northern Forest at the City ground, but things have changed. What we saw yesterday was just a normal thing, which is that it's the London derby. See, Arsenal right now have lost a lot of players. Tottenham, you are not sure of the Tottenham that will show up on every match day. So it was a London derby. You put either weaknesses aside, injury aside, whatever it is aside, it's the London derby. I mean, everybody wants to have the bragging rights, and of course, Arsenal had that. But let's not forget that the result wasn't the true reflection of that game. But unfortunately, Arsenal have the 2-1 win here. See, for Arsenal, like Rotimi said, he said Arsenal will bag based on the result. They're not. If Arsenal wants to win the title, they need to shop in now. They need to rather shop in now, get in strikers. I was talking to someone, so I said, they complained that William Saliba was injured. That was why Arsenal lost the title to Manchester City. No, the difference was Erling Haaland. Arsenal still don't have that striker that will give them 20, 22, 25 goals every season. And unfortunately, they will still lose this title to Liverpool.
Okay. All right.
Very blunt.
It seems he has a crystal ball that we are not privy to. All right, let's listen to Mikel Arteta, what he has to say. Obviously, very relieved man after that victory.
It was a good test to see after two big performances and not getting rewarded in two different competitions. You have to play the biggest game of the season for our people in those conditions. And it's a test of attitude, what we are made of, the courage that we have, how much we really care only about a result or the performance, and how much we can do in terms of what is required in the game to be better than the opposition. And I think we play from the minute one to hurt them with or without the ball. I think we fully deserve to win the game.
All right. Let me pass the ball to Austin now. I Postecoglou, was asked a few questions and almost getting into it with the reporters. He keeps telling them, that's not the question you want to ask me. That's not the answer you want. I found it a bit funny, but here he had to admit that this guy's just didn't show up.
Yeah, but you see, the derbies are like that, I don't think Tottenham didn't just show up. They did what they could do. But if we are to be sincere, we needed to win badly. It was Arsenal. We needed to get back their confidence. It was Arsenal. We needed to build up the momentum to compete for the league title. It was Arsenal, And with Postecoglou and this Tottenham team, he will be saying to himself, they just need to get back whatever it is they had when the league started. I think that's where he's trying to go. And he knows the media. It's difficult. I remember I attended a press conference where I attended with Nuno, and they said that their own game starts when players end theirs, because they know what the media wants to get. And if they're not careful, they will say things that will now go and be blown out of proportion. Let's listen to the Tottenham manager. He's pissed that they didn't win that one, but hey, Arsenal needed that win badly, and the Gunners got it.
There's no magic cure here. You got to get up tomorrow and work hard and go into Sunday and prepare to, go into battle and turn around our fortunes in our season. I mean, there's nothing that's magical that's going to change this. There's always reasons for all these things to happen, but the reality of it is that our results and our form in the league has been nowhere near good enough, and that needs to change.
When you see a manager start, itching when something isn't really itching, they're struggling to get something to talk about. But it is what it is. Arsenal, as I said, really needed to win that game. They need it so bad because they've got a tricky game against Aston Villa on Saturday. Now they've gone to Villa Park to win. Aston Villa got 6 points off Arsenal. And I said for the Gunners to prove a point this season, they need to get 6 points off Aston Villa. Rotimi, how crucial is that game for the Gunners?
Well, like you rightly said, I think it's going to be a crucial tie, no doubt. But then last season was totally different. Aston Villa were on a good run, on a high, and then they had that chance, and that's why they're playing in the Champions League this season, just because they had that good run of form, and then it ended them that spot. This time around, it's not been that sort of Aston Villa side. So Arsenal have a good chance going into that game on Saturday, and probably getting all 3 points. As it is now, it's not about being fluid. It's not about playing good football. Just get the results. That's all that matters. And I think what we've seen Arsenal do, forget the FA Cup blip against United. They created better chances but lost on penalties. I think Arsenal will go into that game against Villa knowing fully well that they can get at least a draw from that game. But I tip them to go on and get all 3 points because it's not the same Aston Villa like what we saw last season.
Yeah, that's it. A quick updates from the Premier League. It's now Manchester United 0, Southampton 1. What a story. Gate with the own goal for Manchester United. And it's been a back and forth issue. I told you that brilliant miss from Garnacho. In fact, Bruno Fernandes was so pissed he almost kicked the goalpost off. And then Onana created a double save to stop Southampton. But now, own goal from Ugarte has given the visitors the lead. Manchester United 0, Southampton 1, Yemi. All
right, that's the situation report. Let me just go to Joseph. Is parting shot on the show. I really wish we had time, but we don't. Mo Salah, Mohamed Salah, and the kind of amount of money that will make your head turn upside down. What the people from Saudi Arabia, trying to offer with the situation at Liverpool, the contract issue not sorted. Do you see Mohamed Salah leaving?
Well, of course, his body language says it all, and of course, his choice of words. I mean, if you read in between the line, Mohamed wants to leave. And going to Saudi Arabia, I think he'll be comfortable there, based on, whatever. I can't say this on air, but then, of course, we understand that he'll be comfortable there. He has paid his dues, as I said earlier. He has won virtually everything for Liverpool. I mean, he should be regarded as one of the best players of all time. So, I mean, moving to Saudi Arabia is more like a retirement zone for him, and I wish him all the best, but I believe he will be leaving.
All right. Joseph Atoro, I want to thank you for your time on the show today. Hopefully we'll do this again some other time.
Always a pleasure. Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right, let me see if I can get 15 seconds from Rotimi. Do you think he will leave? 15 seconds.
It's very possible. Body language, like Joseph said, is looking like you guys are not ready to give me a good deal. So I probably will have to dictate where I want to go next. If the money is good, why not move?
All right. That's as much we can take. Austin, we have to go.
You got to go. Mo Salah and Saudi Arabia is a case of once beaten, twice shy. Remember, 18 months ago, Al Ittihad gave him a contract of about £150 million, and Mo Salah rejected it. It was even Mo Salah that said no fares before Liverpool, turned it down. Maybe this time around, after the disrespect, I got a close source with Mo Salah that said he felt disrespected that his contract was coming to an end and Liverpool didn't say anything. Maybe it's time to say goodbye. For us, it's also time to say goodbye. That's the show. In London, I'm Austin Okonakwa, and in everything you do, remember, keep talking sports. Bye for now.
All right, it's a wrap here in Lagos, but I will not go before. I say a very big thank you to Rotimi Akindele for his time on the show today.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure. Hopefully we'll do this show.
All right, hopefully we'll do this again some other time. All right, before we go, we'll leave you with highlights, tennis highlights from the Australian Open. We bid you to enjoy the rest of your day. You see us again tomorrow. I'm Yemi Adebayo. Bye-bye now.